Welcome back to a brand new video. TBF Gaming jumping back into an Ark Mod Spotlight. Excited to get into this video today. Now, you guys know with our Ark Mod Spotlight series, we're trying to just shine a little bit of light on some of our favorite mods, whether it's maps, dinos, quality of life mods, and everything in between. We want to do kind of half mod spotlight, half mini guide, just to kind of show you some of the cool features or settings within the mod, some of the tools within the mod, and other things about each specific mod. Some of the videos will be really short and just kind of giving a little bit of love to the mod. Some of the videos might be much longer and go into a lot of the settings. We'll see what we have here today. Today's Ark mod is Shiny Dinos. Shiny Dinos is one of the best mods out there. You'll see it on a lot of servers. It basically takes your normal Ark and adds a bunch of color and variety to it. This mod is by Nevcairiel. They've done a great job on this mod. It's got some cool features that are also seasonal specific. We'll jump into those really quickly during this video, and make sure you go check out their Steam page. I'll have that all linked in the description and the first comment down below. Now, in this video, I want to go over a little bit of the variations of dinos. I want to go over some of the settings, and we want to go over a couple of the cool features in this mod. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video, and we'll talk about some of the cool settings that you can add to where you can change the amount of shiny dinos that are out there, the level of the shiny dinos, and even the number of different variants that you're going to have out there on the map. And we'll talk about those settings, the default ones, as well as the ones that we use on our servers. As always, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. It helps us out more than you know. If you have any suggestions of mods that we should do in the future or how to make this video better, put that in the comment down below. And if we earned your subscription today, consider hitting that red subscribe button and maybe the bell for notifications so we can continue to push out more content like this, help the channel grow. We're about to hit 17,000 subs. Thank you so much for that. So let's talk first about the tools in this mod. There's basically two different tools that you can make as a regular player, the Shiny Dino Tracker and the Shiny Essence Prod. There's also another admin tool that I'll show you guys a little bit later. The Prod allows you to go around and take essence from those dinos. Looks like it's gonna hurt. While the Shiny Dino Tracker allows you to see what shinies are currently spawned on the map. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the information inside of the Shiny Dino Tracker. Inside of here, it's going to tell you all the shiny dinos that are currently on the map. Keep in mind that if you're playing single player, you need to have the command prevent hibernation placed in your startup options. But if you're playing on a server, it works pretty seamless. You don't even have to have the settings in here. That we'll show you at the end some really cool settings that you can put in here to change how many things spawn on your map or what level they are, stuff like that. On the left side, you're going to see a list of all the dinos that are currently on the map, as well as a grid and how long ago they spawned in, which is important because there is a lifetime for these dinos that you can adjust in the INI as well. Some dinos you can make it to where they only stick around for an hour, or you can make it to where they stick around unlimited and they never disappear. We'll talk about that later in the settings. When you click on the dino, it's going to show you an approximate location on the map where they're at, and the latitude and longitude, you can change how effective, how close that is in the INI settings as well. So that way, maybe you can only tell players that there's a certain region. You can also, in the INI settings, disable the tracker altogether so people can't use the tracker. Then they'll be reliant on the message popping up or on just finding them out randomly in the wild. Now, this mod, by default, you can see up on top there, it does do a spawn message whenever a new shiny dino spawns on the map. We typically disable that on our servers because of how many dinos we have on our map that are shiny. And if I remember correctly, they also show a message when specific shiny dinos are killed or tamed. Now, for the shiny dinos on the map that you don't want to tame, you can actually set it up to where when you eat them, you can unlock tech, and you can determine how much tech it does unlock. Let's go through and take a quick look at some of the different variant dinos. We're not going to go through each one of these. There is a full description of what each dino does or what they have special abilities. If you go to the Steam page, they do a great job of laying out what each one does. There are some dinos that are just color variants. There's some dinos that are enraged and will attack you on sight. And there's some dinos like the Frozen Raptor to our right that actually has a little bit of an ability when it attacks them. There's also some very cool seasonal dinos that you may see out there. The Trick or Treat dino, the Passionate Lovers dino, based on their respective holidays, and they have special abilities as well. The Passionate Lover will actually spawn in doubles, so when you find one of them, there'll suddenly be two. And the Trick or Treat dino, one of my favorite dinos, will actually turn into a different dino once it tames out. So you could have knocked out a dodo, and it could turn into a wyvern. The only two dinos that I don't have out because they do give you a negative effect when you throw them out is the Filthy. There's the Filthy variant, which adds the Filthy Cloud to you, which does suffocate you, and I have died a couple times when that's happened. And the Radiation Dino, same thing, gives you a radiation buff. You have to wear the hazmat suit in order to ride or have those dinos around. So we'll take a quick look at some of the dinos that we've spawned in to show you guys so you can see some of the different variants. We used our favorite two dinos, the Raptor and the Shinehorn, because Shinehorns are amazing. And we're going to go ahead and check those out just to kind of give you an idea of what some of them are. This is one of the mods where it really helps to have the spyglass so you can kind of see what different things are. There's like a pygmy out there, which means it's a smaller version, a pygmy spice. There's a skeletal way out there. So over here, we've got the Frozen, we've got the Amazon, we've got the Shinobi, We've got the Spectral, TARDIS, Burning Raptor, Stalwart, Saffron, Skeletal, Azure, Amethyst, Taser Pastel, and it's also Aberrant, a Taser Sherwood, so those guys will actually do a little bit of an electric effect when they hit you. Holographic, one of my absolute favorites, the really cool holographic looking dinos. Got a galley there. I don't know why the galley's with the raptors. You have the Passionate Lovers. Like I said, when these spawn in, it'll just spawn in one, and then when you get around to them, there'll suddenly be two of them. It's really cool. The Verdant Raptor, and some of these are just color variations like Verdant. The Luminous Kraken Raptor, the Bolstering Luna Raptor, the Revitalizing Midnight Raptor, Serene Saffron Raptor, Invigorating Budgie Raptor, Obscure Rose Raptor, and Pytherius Midnight Raptor. And then the Shinehorns, we won't read off all the different types. Also, why is the... why are you over there? The Pygmy Sunset X Raptor is over there. So it's got an X Raptor variation, a color variation, and the Pygmy variation. So it's a little bit smaller than your normal Raptor. So if you guys can see that there. Shinehorns, pretty much all the same ones, same variants, but I just want to kind of let you look at them real quick because they look absolutely amazing. How can you not love them? Also, this is a Pygmy, so it's even a smaller Shinehorn. How cool is that? This is actually a Shinehorn too, even though you wouldn't realize it because it was a Trick or Treat Shinehorn, and when we tamed it, it tamed out to a Thylacoleo, which I can actually show you that real quick to kind of give you an idea of what that's like by using the admin tools, and we'll do that in just a minute. Let's go around and take just a quick look at some of the ones out here so you can see some of the other cool variations. I made sure I only spawned in a bunch of Plant Eaters so I don't get eaten out here, well, hopefully, unless there's an Enrage. That could still happen. There's not too many over here. We've got a Bright Rainbow, and you can change how many of these are actually spawning on the map. If you don't want these to take over your map, if you just want a few of them, that's possible. Or if you want pretty much the entire map to be shiny dinos, that's also possible. So a Spectral Stego. Way over here, there's a Psychotropic Leaf Bronto. There's a Bright Rainbow Maywing. There's just so many cool different variations out here. A Jungle Triceratops. And these color variations do pass on when you're doing breeding. The effect variations do not. So a Taser or Holographic, that doesn't pass on, but the color variations absolutely do. Also, this little effect on there, you can determine whether or not that little shiny effect is actually on the dino or not. So if you don't want the weird shiny effect, but you still want the cool color variations, you can change it that way. There's a little special Jungle Featherlight. There's a Russet Bulldog. These guys are just so cool. This is what makes it kind of fun. It's just running around. You'll see a shiny dino, and you kind of have to stop what you're doing. A Lunar Goth Aberrant Doedicurus, so it's got a few different variations there. Another Featherlight over there. I think that's about it. There's a Spectral Bronto. You can't really see him in the background. But that's kind of a quick look at some of the dinos out there. There's so many variations. I could go around forever and find a bunch of different ones out there, especially with all the color variations or the power variations. You can get multiple of each thing. So let's go back to our dinos over here. All right, now that I've showed you some of the cool dinos in this mod and how amazing some of these look, especially all those Shinehorns back there, let's go ahead and talk quickly about a couple of the admin tools. The two different admin tools that we're talking about is the Shiny Dino Admin Gun, as well as the Command to Force Spawns. The Shiny Dino Admin Gun basically allows admins to go around and force spawn different Shiny Dinos. You can determine which one it is. The gun works pretty well. It is admin spawn only using the following admin command. The gun has basically three simple functions. You have your left click, which turns the dino into the specific Shiny Dino. So if we're over here pointing at this guy and we go like that, boom, he's now a Pytherius Indigo Jerboa. Right click, force tames the dino. So if you're wanting to do that and then maybe reward people with some really cool dinos, that's kind of a way to do that. The other thing with this is if you want to change what type of dino is spawning in, you press the R button and it's going to show, we're going to have this up, it's going to show what type of dino is spawning in based with the gun. So TARDIS, Spectral, and you can actually change things multiple times if you wanted to. So let's go check this guy out. So right now we're going to turn it into a Shinobi, we're going to turn it to a Frozen, we're going to turn it to an Endurant, we're going to turn it to a Filthy, we're going to turn it to a Holographic, Lunar, Taser, Trick or Treat, which is the coolest one. This is the one we talked about earlier. If you right click on this guy and force tame him, you'll see it'll tame out. For some reason we're getting Thylacoleos, but it is random. It'll pick out something random from the spawn table, which is really cool. And that might be the only thing that actually spawns on this little test map. So that's why we're getting Thylacoleos every time. Yeah, but lots of different variations here. It is pretty cool. If you want to cycle through that, you just tap the R button. If you want to reverse cycle through it, you hold shift in the R button, and it goes backwards through that. You can also just do random, although be careful if you're doing random, because there is a chance that you could do a Enraged, which I'll show you that real quick. Let's go Frozen, Shinobi, Spectral. Come on, go around. Enraged. So if we did an Enraged, even something like a Listro, it's going to get a little bit of a size increase, a stat increase, and now we have a really scary Listro chasing after us. So I've had dodos and other things chase after us before. It's pretty funny. There you go. Let's change him back into something normal. There's just lots of cool variations here. Another one that we talked about before that does a special thing when you get them is the lovers. If you do that, boom, it becomes 2 of them. Oh, wow. We can actually multiply them out. This would just cause lots of trouble. It's like Multiplicity, the Listro edition. The other admin tool that you can use to force a spawn of a shiny dino on the map is the command cheat, script command, shiny spawn now, all one word. You put that in, and it's going to basically spawn one of those across the map. Boom. We have a shiny Motley Otter that has emerged at 5448, and then you can go out and find that dino. And you could do this several times. If you already have shiny dinos enabled and you have the settings set up correctly, you really don't have to do this, but you definitely can. I keep hitting extra. Hold on. There we go. So you can keep doing that over and over again. We got an Amethyst Shinehorn. Now this basically goes out and takes dinos that are already on the map and turns them into a shiny dino. It doesn't spawn in new dinos. It takes a random Listro that's out there somewhere and turns it into whatever type of shiny is spawning in. So definitely be careful, because you could run around and end up running into some enraged dino that's going to kind of wreck your day just a little bit. Now that message that pops up, you can disable or enable that. That way you're not getting those messages all the time. On a server like mine where we set up lots of shiny dinos, it can be a little bit annoying if you're getting that shiny dino message on top of the screen every few seconds. But if you're playing on a server where the shinies are a little more rare, it's kind of nice to have that up there. You can also disable the tracker, so people just have to go out and find it, or maybe they have a grid that shows up when it first shows up, and then it's going to be really based on who gets there first, or just maybe just luck that they're already out there in the correct area. All right, now this mod works with every single mod that we've tried it with. It is a very versatile mod. It works with your vanilla dinos or the modded dinos. You can have a Eternal Doedicurus or a Primal Fear demonic dino that gets turned into a shiny. Basically, the mod just scans around the map, takes dinos that are already there, and turns them into that shiny variant. So it is very cool. It allows you to get some really cool color variations for taming and breeding. That looks kind of like a aggressive gas bag out there. But yeah, it is a very cool mod. It definitely adds a lot of variety and spice to it. We'll talk about our overall thoughts in it in just a little bit. Let's move over to a little bit of the nerdy stuff. If you guys want to skip ahead, you don't have to look at this. But let's take a look at the INI. And we're going to go over to the Steam page for that, so it won't be in-game stuff. But I'm going to show you the Steam page, and we'll talk about each one of the settings, as well as go through the settings that I typically use. All right, so for this, we moved over to the actual Steam page. This is all created by the mod developer. They do such a great job with this, but I wanted to go through some of the settings with you. And I know this is not for everybody, but if you're setting up your own server, or even on your single player, this can add so many different things to the mod, and it's very highly configurable. So we'll go through this. I won't try to be too long-winded with it, but let's talk about the different settings in here, and then I'll tell you what settings we typically set up on our servers. Make sure you have the shiny header up top. Then the settings down below are pretty self-explanatory, but we'll go quickly through them. Spawn interval minimum and maximum is just how often the shiny dinos are going to spawn. You can set a minimum maximum for that that's really short or really high. We typically set ours really low, so it's going to spawn lots of shiny dinos on the map. The lower that is, the more often that it's going to spawn those dinos in. The dino lifetime max and min max is how long that dino is going to stay on the map. If you want it to be a really rare spawn that only stays around for 10 minutes to an hour, you can set that. Or if you want it to stay around for a long time, you can put this to all 9, so you don't have to worry about your dino disappearing while you're trying to tame it, which can be really frustrating. All right, the dino level minimum and maximum. This is typically set right above whatever your max dino on the server is. So if your max dinos on the server is 150, this can spawn in from 150 to 180. And you can change it to where it spawns in just at 150 or just at 200 or whatever you want that shiny dino to be. But we always set it up just slightly higher than your normal max dino. So on an Eternal server where max level is 600, we'll put this one from 550 to 650. So there's a chance to get a slightly higher level. So it makes those shiny dinos not just cool looking, but more useful because you're going to get better stats on them. Max number of shinies. This is obviously the big one for the total number of max shinies. This one and your spawn interval really determine how many dinos you have on the map from shiny dinos. And if you guys don't know, for the minimum maximum, something we should mention is that is going to change whatever gets turned into a shiny dino to that level. So when it goes around and scans a dodo and decides to turn a dodo into a shiny, that level 10 dodo will become a level 150 to 180 dodo. So that is how that works. The max shiny dinos, like we said, is the just total number of shinies on the map We set this really high. We set it to several hundred, depending on what kind of modded playthrough we're playing. Or if we're playing a little bit more of a strict playthrough, we'll set it down to just 10 to 20, so it's more of a rare spawn, and you have to get really lucky to be able to find them, especially when the server has a halfway decent population. People are going to be chasing after those. The number of search loops is how many times the scan is going to go around. Keep in mind that some of these settings, if you set it too high or too low, can add a little bit of lag onto the server because there's a lot of background processing that's happening. The random selection bias changes how even it is across the different types of dinos, the classes of dinos. So with like dodos and trikes and stuff like that, or raptors and rexes, whatever the different classes are, if you set it to 1, it's going to be evenly spread across those, where if you set the random selection bias, it's going to be a little more specific to what it actually tries to spawn in. Can carry shinies is whether or not you can pick them up with a Quetz, Pteranodon, or Argy. The shinies untamable is whether or not you want your shinies to be able to be tamed or not. We always leave that as false so that you can still tame them. Location precision changes how accurate the dino tracker is. Dino blacklist and whitelist just changes it to where if you don't want certain dinos to turn into a shiny dino, so you don't want a Managarmr, the worst dino in Ark, to turn into a shiny dino, you would put the blueprint for the Managarmr here. For the whitelist, if you only want it to do specific dinos, so if we only want dodos to turn into shinies, then we would put the dodo information here, and that would be added to the whitelist. For the variant blacklist and whitelist, same thing. You can put the different variants here. So if you don't want the filthy ones or the radiated ones on your map, you can put them in the blacklist. Or if you only want specific ones, like we only want holographic, you can put that on the whitelist. The shiny flyer and shiny aquatic settings are basically to determine whether or not you want shiny to go ahead and scan the fish or the flyers and turn them into shinies. For some maps, you don't want the aquatic on because it is going to go around, it's going to scan things. You're going to end up with coelacanth or a bunch of other underwater creatures that you're not really going to tame turned into shiny dinos, which could be good for killing things, but you're not really wanting to go tame a shiny coelacanth, or at least I wouldn't want to. The no shiny unrideable, just whether or not you want them to be rideable or not. You can turn some dinos that are normally not rideable into rideable dinos. No active duplication dinos, I don't really mess with too often. The required tracker, whether or not you have to have the tracker, we almost always leave to false. Disable tracker is if you don't want people to have the tracker and they have to rely on seeing the notification or just finding them in the wild. That's where you would do that. The notification interval. This is every time that a shiny dino spawns in, whether or not it's going to broadcast that across the server. We go ahead and leave that alone, and we just turn it to where it's down here. The notification, disable notifications, true. So that way you don't get those notifications of the shiny dino spawn. The variant swap aberrant chance, this is the chance that this is set to a 10% chance. The chance that it is going to turn into an aberration or a X dino, which is very cool. Unlock tech, this is whether or not killing shiny dinos is going to unlock tech. The number of tech that it's going to unlock, you can set it to just 1 or 2, or you can set it to 0. That way it's not unlocking tech. We typically set it to 1, so killing a shiny dino gives you 1, and then killing a alpha and rage gives you 2. That just kind of makes it easier for people to unlock tech, especially in modded playthroughs where those, defeating a normal boss to unlock tech is not really that important. For tamed show sparkles, that's a little sparkle effect that happens around them. If you want the color variations but not that little sparkle effect, change that there. The enraged level multiplier, the level that the little enraged guy turns into. So that Lystro, if we want him to be 5 times more powerful than usual, we'd put a 5 there instead. Disable notification, whether or not you get those notifications up top, and as well as the coordinates. You can change whether or not it shows the coordinates up there. Disable essence extraction, so the prod would not work if you did that. Enrage raw essence reward amount, how much essence you get from those. And then the last one, this one's actually really cool. Can I show you guys my settings? I think what I'll do is I'll just kind of explain it. The variant weighted dinos, basically you put the type here, and I'll put this up on the screen. If you want to have enraged dinos across the map, you would type enraged : and then the weight of chance to spawn in. So it's by percentage. So if we want it to be 50%, we would put it at 50. If we want it to be 100%, it'd be at 100. And even though it's only supposed to go to 100, we have put 300 before, and it does seem to give you an increased chance to get those. So if you want just nothing but holographic dinos or pygmy dinos across your map, this is where you go to that setting to make that happen. So that's the general overview and mini guide for shiny dinos. Hopefully this helped you guys out. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, or hopefully it showed you something that you may have not known about the mod. If it helped you out in any way, definitely hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Quick last second thoughts on my opinions on the mod overall. This is one of my favorite mods. It's probably in my top 10 overall mods, and it's probably in the top 5 of mods that we've used the most often. It is definitely up there with our Structures Plus, Awesome Teleporter, and Awesome Spyglass that we use on every single server that we play. And it's so customizable to where you can make it very prominent on your server or very minimal on your server, depending on how you want to set it up. You can make it where it's very OP or where it's just a little bit of an addition, and just the amount of customization in it. Definitely huge shout out to the mod developer for this one. They do such a great job with this mod, and it's always worked really well. It's never given us a problem, so huge shout out to that. So if we had to give it a rating, I don't really do ratings, but if we had to, it's definitely a 10 out of 10 mod, one of the best. And I think it's one of those mods that would do really well if they incorporated it into your basic version of Ark, into your just normal vanilla version or console version. I feel like this is something they could do in the background. They could actually add this to servers, and it would add so much more life into servers and extend playtime, stuff like that, that I think is really important. But there you go. That's kind of how we feel about the mod. That's how we wanted to kind of cover this one today. Hopefully the structure of this one works a little bit better. Our good friend Thinman's been giving us some tips and pointers on how to set these up, and I'm going to try to improve them in the future going forward. So thank you so much for the support. I really do appreciate it. Huge shout out to the patrons because they make all these videos possible. I couldn't run the videos or the servers without their contributions, and I appreciate them so much. If you made it to the end of the video, you're my MVP, and hopefully you guys checked out this video. And if you guys want to know more about this, definitely feel free to join my Discord, and I'm always able to try to answer comments or questions, or if you guys need some settings, I'm willing to post the settings there in my Discord. So definitely let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks, Equus. There you go, a little bit of horse butt in the video. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.